I'm getting fed up talking about politics, or at least reacting to it. But someone has to balance against the propaganda that gets spread and people jumping on the bandwagon. So the situation with Zelenskyy and Trump is quite huge at the moment. A lot of people jumping on a bandwagon about Zelenskyy now, driving up his past as a comedian, a performer. I'll show just to quickly start it off, but it's for me, it's absolutely ridiculous. Who you are, who you were in the past, doesn't determine who you are in the present. And too many people, they like to hold that against people. My argument to that is we was all babies at one point. We was all wore a diaper. Are you still a baby today? Have a think. So you've got Zelenskyy being ridiculed, really, publicly by Donald Trump. Then he gets to meet the King Charles. And now people are showing him performing when he was a bit younger. I don't know what age. So there's people saying, well, how the hell can you take this guy serious? Who is he to lead? And then you see him leading, by example. And my response to that is, sometimes people are put in positions where it's like sink or swim. You either stand up or don't. And he's obviously standing up and playing the role that he needs to do for his country. Now, I don't think it matters if you have a light-hearted part of your personality. It's outrageous. You know, I have a very professional side where I'll stand up, I'll put myself forward, I'll talk on topics that most people are terrified to talk about. I don't care about public image. So someone could say, who the hell are you? And I'll be like, well, you can see who I am quite clearly. I attach my name. You see my face. I speak quite eloquently. You can see who I am. Who are you? You know, that's the question, isn't it? You go, who are you? Oh, a lot of people, they hide in comment sections. They don't have a real face or name. So who are you? That's the question. You know who I am. I'm quite transparent. Well established. I've done multiple books at the very least. I've done a podcast, done audio books. I've done an awful lot of video content. You can find out who I am quite clearly. If you go by my past, I've done warehouse and forklift. If you're going to hold me to the standard that I am just that is who I am, that's up to you. But in those environments, I was a quick learner. I quite enjoyed what I did at times, but it was always beneath me in some respects because I have more intelligence and I could put that to use far more than I can physical jobs. But that's not to say the physical jobs are not good. You know, I'm proud of everything I've achieved and done. But inevitably, I often clashed with leadership because, in all honesty, they were inept. That's not my fault. My position was positioned beneath them. But I always challenge them on things, and they don't like to have people challenge them, of course, because they don't want their position threatened. So they like to try and keep you small. And that is the problem. Hence, the other issues where people are trying to keep Zelenskyy small now. Once a performer, always a performer sort of situation. And it's like, get your head out your ass. It just drives me nuts how people just jump on bandwagons, and it's not one person, but like so many. And they just start ridiculing and ridiculing and ridiculing. So then the argument could be, like, when I talk upon life itself, how I overcome things, how I see life, and I talk about challenging topics, you could say, well, who are you? You used to drive, you've operated a forklift. You wore a nappy as a baby. These are all the things that get us to where we're going. It's part of our life journey. We all have a journey in life. There's certain chapters. There'll be times when maybe you were not completely proud of who you were, but it's part of your learning process. So even Zelensky's situation, he's used to being, if he performed on stage, for instance, then he's used to being like the center of attention, for example. He's used to the pressure of people's critiques. He's had an audience with important people. So maybe, apart from the performance he was doing, maybe there's other skills he's attained to allow him to progress onto the next phase of his journey. But you can't say that anyone was prepared or ready for a war. You're thrust into a situation. So it's not like he chose to be in that situation at that time. But of course, he is the president or prime minister. I don't know the roles. But I think judging someone based on their past, I think it's just stupid when you should be judging them based on their present. That's the most important thing. Because old versions of us exist. They're old. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's an old version that you can judge, but it's like it's a old version of that person. It doesn't really. It's not reality anymore. He is no longer that performer. He probably still has that in him, of course. You'll see me talk quite serious. You'll see me quite stoic at times. I have strong boundaries. I can be quite judgmental as well. I can, and I hold people accountable. There's a very soft side to me though as well. A very free spirited, silly. Maybe some people just wouldn't expect, but those closest to me get that. And those people, like, that's the thing with me. I'm like polarizing to so many people. Some people will love me. Some people absolutely hate me. But a lot of people will be surprised by how light-hearted and silly I can be. But that's how confident I am in myself, that I am myself. But then when that side comes out, if someone has only seen that side, they wouldn't realize how intelligent I am, how resilient and confident. You wouldn't know those things if you just saw me being silly and goofy. So you naturally would pigeonhole me. Um, you wouldn't consider that I have all the other strengths and the ability to go on and sort of publish books about serious topics and try to help people heal. I've had my own personal trauma to come to terms with that, in all honesty, I think would bury a lot of people. But instead, I use it as the catalyst to grow. And I always say that you gain wisdom from knowledge. Knowledge comes from the experiences. So, I mean, who do you want to follow in life? If you're going to follow someone and you're going to listen to them, do you want someone who hasn't had experiences but was given a silver spoon up their ass? So maybe someone that was given privilege under previous, like maybe their father was a leader, maybe this and that, but then they haven't even got life experience. They've only got this very one-dimensional aspect to them. Well, that's not the traits of a leader. That's a dictator. So I would argue someone that's had life experiences and they've seen an awful lot of the world. I think they're more dynamic. And it's just sad, I think, when you just start seeing people like round on someone else and just keep bringing up the past like that's relevant. It's just so stupid. It's done. It's the propaganda to undermine their authority. Funny how it's all circulating after the Trump situation. Heads of state will do what they can to diminish someone else's position, to make them seem irrelevant, and then people don't align with them anymore. And it's just sad that people jump on it. But you get weak people who posture is strong. I've said that so many times. And usually people in comment section. Who would follow this guy? Well, sorry, Mr. Tough Nut. Who would follow you? You've got no compassion. You've got no humility. You've got no charisma. That's how it comes across. You just seem to be a hard man. No one gives a shit if someone's a hard man. That's not a quality most people aspire to have around them. I'm sorry. It's like you could be the bully in the playground, but no one really likes you when you're like that. No one likes the bully. And that's how I see it. I see it as these like hardened people, and it's like, really, that's not impressive to anyone. Though I'm sorry. That back in the past, maybe that is what people thought was cool. It's not really anymore. It wasn't really before, but people just put up with it because you just try to appease a bully, don't you? And that's how the comment sections of some of these people's videos are coming across. The tough people. But it's like, I wouldn't follow the tough person into things. I want someone who's intelligent, can be dynamic, and can see different aspects. Analytical. I don't need someone who can just go in, hold guns blazing, and sort of get everyone killed in an instant because they wanted to be the tough guy, wanted to be the hero. You'd be the fodder on the front line. That's what would happen. You want to be someone who's strategic and can see different aspects. And anyway, like I say, I've worked for absolute imbeciles, in all honesty. People you would say have a good resume, maybe. They've got a history, especially some for the military background. And they come into positions and they were leaders, a leadership management role. They didn't have a clue what was going on. But they had this opportunity because of something that's handed to them based on a position they had before that's got nothing, it doesn't even correlate. And I didn't care I didn't care they were previously in the military. I still challenged them on absolutely everything. You could say, "Oh, little old me, who are you?" Well, I'm just someone who has a lot of experience in many things, and I speak up against things that I think are injustice. I don't like injustice. I like to speak up for some people, for people that can't speak up for themselves. I'll make myself front and center. I attach my name publicly and my image, so held accountable. So at least you know who I am. Yeah. Question is, who are the other people? So yeah, I think if someone, at least if you can be accountable, I think that's a good start, personally. I could go into far deeper things about who I am, my past and history, but you know what? Invest in it. If you want to do it, look for more of my videos, check out my website, maybe even invest in some of my books. You might actually be quite surprised and might go, you know what? This guy ain't so bad. Maybe he is smarter than he looks. Maybe he's smarter than his past. I had that all my life. People underestimate me. It's one of the biggest things. You know, you're underestimated. I've always been underestimated. I've never underestimated me. And from what I've seen of Zelenskyy, he stepped up when his nation needed him. Now, I'm not here to represent someone and say they're perfect. I've not gone into the deeper details. But every time I've seen him, he's presented well. And he's done what he's needed to do. He's been diplomatic. He's done, the Trump situation. I'm sorry, even I wouldn't bow to people. Respect gains respect. I don't care the position and influence you have on the world. I really don't. It's like, if you're going to be disrespectful to me, then, I'm not going to be respectful to you. But when I have a nation behind me, relying on me, then I'll try my best to bite my tongue, but I will not bow to someone. I wouldn't allow that, because if you're the head of the state, you're representing your nation. So you could say, like a lot of Americans, especially in the media, talk about like bowing to Trump, at least appease him. No, you shouldn't have to. Because if you're the head of a state, their disrespect to you is a disrespect to the nation and everybody you represent. It's not about an ego saying, oh, I won't humble myself. It's not about that. It's about he's showing that he doesn't even respect the Ukrainian people and its territory. And it's up to you to stand there and assert yourself and not be dominated, and recognize when you're being abused and say, look, if you're not going to be a fair partner, then, we can do it ourselves, because Trump's arrogance is shit. He drives me nuts. I can go on a huge spew with this, talking about like you would fold without our support. No one's saying it'll be easy without their support, but they're very resilient people, the Ukrainians. I think far more resilient than Trump. So I think, as we're seeing, Europe's stepping up and things. So yeah, there's always going to be calculated risks with any decision you make, especially when you're in leadership. But there are bigger consequences, of course, to just buckling under pressure. And I think everything will be questioned, or left, right, and centre. But you can have people like Trump who are puppets to Russia right now, and you could argue that he's the one taking the weaker options. He's taking the easy options out of things. But he's not making himself very prominent right now. He's actually alienating himself. So what do you want from a leader? Someone who stands up and is resilient, or someone who becomes a puppet and a vassal for someone else? I'd want someone who stands up for the people and does right by them. And it's not always going to be the easy tasks and easy options. But again, what do I know? What do I know? I was just a forklift driver not too long ago. And I may be a forklift driver soon. It's not beneath me. I'm humble enough to do what I need to do in a given moment. I've sacrificed a lot to do my books, for instance. I've had jobs, I've left jobs to focus on my creative pursuits and invest in myself. So I'm ambitious. I believe in myself. I believe in my journey, my story. I believe I can have a positive impact on the world. And sometimes you have to make yourself front and center and speak up, even if you don't really want to too much sometimes. I'm not worried about people's reactions to me. Sometimes I just get fed up doing it. I've always done the warehouse work, for instance, because I prefer to be in the background, just get the job done and then just finish. I can't be bothered to deal with other people's attitudes, because I see how flawed so many people are. They're corrupted by the communities they surround themselves. And often most people take the easy way out of situations. So guess what? They jump on the bandwagon. It's easy to do that. If you've got 1 million people saying one thing, it's easy to go, yeah, I'm part of something here. I'm going to ride the wave. That's what people do. It takes the balls to go against the wave and say, wait a minute, this isn't right. I see something quite cruel going on right now. And I'm going to stand on the side of this person. And I'm going to speak up. Now, you could argue, again, you could sort of like chip away at someone's character. But I think in itself it shows character. So when I see Zelenskyy, I see a leader. And that's what I see. So then you can show me the footage of him dancing, doing comedy, looking silly, maybe in his 20s, maybe even early 30s. I don't know how old he is. But that doesn't define who he is today, and that he represents the Ukrainian people. And I don't think when I see him on camera, he looks too silly to me. So yeah, these people that just keep spouting shit, they haven't even got the confidence to put their real name attached to anything, their real photo, or even a video of themselves. So who the hell are you?